No. Hey, 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 people on Facebook. Let me see. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, y'all. There's always something going on. Let me have a look at this. For the people that are on Facebook, hey, y'all. Just give me a couple of minutes because we are also going live on Instagram and it's checking the connection just to make sure that everything's working correctly. Keys checking, checking, checking. Let's see. Let's see. It's a live show. So you already know how that works. We do our best, but it's always putting me through a test. I just came up with that. Wait a minute, we just have to start over on Instagram. So in the meantime, I'm just going to be live here on Facebook. I hope that you all are doing well. It's Friday, y'all. It's Friday again. Now, if I could, I would play some music on online, but I don't want Facebook giving me a copyright strike, so we're not going to do that. I'm going to try it again on Instagram. But yeah, it is Friday. It is Friday, people. And it's kind of weird how we get so excited for the end of the week, right? But it's, yeah, I think it's a little bit weird. Oh my gosh, there's some things going on. Let's see what might be going on right here. Yes, and now we are live on on Instagram. Instagram being a pain in the butt. I don't know what's going on with Instagram. It is part of Facebook, so it should be going well, right? It's part of the whole Meta family, so it should be going well. But in the meantime, that Instagram is setting itself up. I'm going to say hi to all the Facebook people. How are you all doing? I hope that you, just like me, are looking forward for the weekend. It's been a long week. It's been a long week, but it's a good week. It is a good week. It is a good week because we are breathing, we are alive, and I'm thankful that another day has been brought to me that I can do the things that I would like to do. So, no complaints. But your girl's just tired. That's just all, right? And the weekend is a moment where we can take a little bit more rest, a little bit more rest, a little bit more rest. So I hope for you that you had a great week and things have been going well for yourself too. If there have been certain issues and you were like, you know what, this is too much. This is way too much. Let me just remind you that everything has a beginning and everything has an end, right? A bad moment doesn't have to linger on and be a bad day, and a bad day doesn't have to spill over into a bad week. Let the things go so that you can move forward. Okay, so let me see. We are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. I would say let's get it started. So Friday, time for another live, and in this today's live, I wanted to talk about: do you like art or do you love art? Do you like with your heart and your soul? Do you love it? Do you just like it? Right. So I'm going to take the coming 30 minutes to get a little bit into that, and why I'm asking that question. And I'm the type of person I like to give you the question, come with some perspectives. I'll put some perspectives around it, and then I let you come to the answer because eventually you're the person who's going to come to the answer for that. So before I start, for those who do not know who I am, my name is Marilfa. I'm a contemporary artist. I am the owner and the originator of MCJ Studio that has been up and running for almost 10 years. 10 years. 10, huh? 10 years. It's quite some time. But I have been a professional artist for the last, I would say, 5 to 4 years. And it started out as a hobby. Well, it wasn't a hobby. Let me be honest about that. Mine did not really start as a hobby. Mine actually started with the desire to explore something that I felt needed to get a place in my life. So it wasn't a hobby. It wasn't something that I just did in my free time and entertained myself with just to kill time or to be busy. Not at all. It started from a place where I had the desire to explore it and to make it real. And before I could get to the place where I said, well, this is something that I actually want to pursue, this is something I want to do on a professional level, there were some years towards that. And for people on the outside, it might look like a hobby, but it's not. It's not a hobby. Not a hobby at all. No, people. So, almost 10 years strong, 39 years old. And what I do is that I create contemporary art, and that art depicts stories. I depict stories on the canvas of people from the Afro and the Afro Caribbean diaspora that live here in the Western world. And we live with our stories, our culture, our language, our food, our swag, our performance, our stance, everything that creates and makes the culture as we know it right now. Hence me being a contemporary artist and also looking at people from a certain heritage, a certain culture. So that can be people from the African continent. It can be people from the Caribbean. It can be people from in Latin America. It can be people in that live in North America. There can be people that live in Western America. It can be all, but it's specifically, generally that, but specifically, I focus on the people that live here. And the reason why I do that is because here we continue our stories, and we are pretty far away from the roots that connect us with the motherland, if you would say, our 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 geographical culture, our geographical base, and we move to the Western Hemisphere. Well, it wasn't voluntarily. It wasn't as if we packed our bags and said, "But you know what? Come on and let's move. Let's go somewhere and move." No, there is of course a whole history behind it. And what I do is that with that history in mind, I'm going to make a couple of steps forward and look at where we are right now and how has it influenced us now in the present moment. That is what I find very interesting. And I look at subjects that have to do with sensuality, that have to do with vulnerability, that have to do some subjects can be political. Um, they can be about the inner world that we have. They can be about the outer world that we have. There can be various subjects in that, and that is what it makes it so interesting. In the Afro Caribbean culture, our language, our music, our food is colorful, is alive. You smell it. It has, you smell the spices, you taste the spices, the way that we speak, we can recognize each other. And even if we don't all connect linguistically, because we all speak different languages, or maybe certain parts of our culture, our heritage, the morals, the values have changed a little bit, we still recognize each other. We still see each other. We still can look at the other one and say, "Whoa, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. That looks familiar. That is familiar." And here's the beauty of seeing how the contemporary art from this particular demographic is now really reaching people in the Western Hemisphere. People want to know. We're becoming more diverse. Our taste palette is changing. So we are not just looking at everything that is being brought by Hollywood or brought by predominantly white art galleries and white art dealers and traders and art lovers. No, it's very diverse. And people are looking for a great representation, a reflection of that. So I'm really happy for, I wouldn't say it's not something that's trendy, but it's a trend that is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger with the years coming up. And of course, us being here, look at me on Instagram, being on Facebook, and having this Facebook Live and Instagram Live with you. It makes it only easier for people to connect with artists like me. And it's also easier for me to also get the feedback from you because I do believe that art needs to cater to what is happening right now as we are living it in this world. And the world is diverse. The world is diverse. We are evolving. We are getting innovative. You know, we have progressive ways of thinking, even though some certain things can be very regressive. Um, but I'm just really happy to see that this movement of seeing more people of color on the canvas in an authentic and a real way is growing and growing and growing and growing. Anyway, going to the question, do you like art or do you love art? Right? I get to hear from people when they see my art. Oh my God, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I haven't seen it anywhere else. And I also get sometimes comments from people that say, well, I like it. I like it. I like it. But I'm not talking about that type of thing. I'm not talking about that type of thing. I'm a little bit more critical than that. The people that really know me know that I can be pretty critical. But the thing that I actually want to introduce into this conversation is for people that are open to the world of art in our You're stepping into it, you are getting all these different flavors, you're getting all these different tastes, you're getting all these different type of artworks and artists on your palette, on your screen, or maybe in a gallery, a museum. You are starting to ask yourself, how can I connect to this? And that is basically what my question is referring to. In order for you to like something, to love something, or to like something, it has to do with the level of connection that you're making with something. So when you're looking at a piece of art, how are you willing to be open enough to connect with it? The more open you are to it, the deeper the connection becomes, and the deeper your you actually want to explore why that is the case that it is, right? We all hear people, "Well, I would like to have a piece of art and I would love to have it in my interior. We'll be spicing it up. It will be, making it alive. It's bringing a little bit of culture into that." But I want to kind of deviate from that because even though I do respect the people that are looking for a piece of artwork that might accommodate their interior, looks good on the wall with the plant next to it and the color scheme that you have. And that is also what we see a lot, right? When we look on our on social media or on our websites, that people are really pushing artworks that are not too demanding, right? They don't take away from somebody's interior. So what you will normally see is abstract art. Abstract art means it can take on any form, it can take on any story, it can take on any form. It's not restricted to the realism as we know it and as we see it, that you can see clear subjects or objects on the canvas, or we see particular art like pop art or maybe impressionism. um, at least art that will leave it open to the imagination and is easy to blend or to cooperate itself into the interior of somebody's business or maybe their own house or your bedroom or your hallway. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But in that case, that is a question that is not deep enough when it comes to the art that I'm providing. And I think also the art with a lot of other artists of this level that I'm on are also providing for to you as an audience. In this case, and the reason why I'm having these talks is to actually ask you the question, in how far are you willing to really connect to the art that you are seeing? Loving a piece of art. So, going from liking to loving a piece of art means that you're really going into the commitment of asking yourself the question, well, who's the artist? Who is the artist? What is it that they create? What are the subjects that they create about? Is it something that relates to me? How is it making me feel? And not how is it making me think? What do I think about it? And I will come later to that, why it is a very important question for you to ask and to get out of your head and get into your heart. I also have a post on my Instagram where I even say that, like, when it comes to art, get into your heart, get out of your head, right? Get out of your head. Don't think too much about it. There are certain elements, of course, of the art that you are thinking about, of course. But when it comes to comes to the commitment, the relationship that you have with the artwork that catches your eye, it's the heart that speaks. It's the heart that really speaks. So, how does it make you feel? Get into that feeling, explore it. I mean, there's nobody watching. There's nobody saying, "What you doing over there?" You'd be like, "I'm exploring my feelings." No, keep have that moment for yourself where you really get to observe a piece of artwork and be like, well, what is it doing to me? Why do I feel so compelled each and every time I see this piece of art to look at it, to stare at it, or just to go back to somebody's page, or to go back to somebody's feed, or go back to their website and look at that piece of art and be like, man, I don't know what it is about that artwork, but it really gets to me. It really touches me, right? Getting out of the head and going into your heart, making that heart connection. Another question that I would like to offer is it just something that you want to be trendy with because everybody is buying it, or is being, the narrative being pushed of this is what is acceptable, this is what is the norm, this is what we traditionally do? Or are you looking for something that you want to be committed to because it is a piece of your home? It's a piece of your home. It's not just an investment, and it's investment into your home and your lifestyle that you're living. So it's a really, really good question to ask. Because a question that I also hear a lot is, well, how much is it worth? How much can I get for it if I resell it? Listen, I will be the last one to say that that is not a question that is valid. There are people that have that particular goal. There are people that have that particular mindset. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that is wrong. We can all have our personal views on that. But just in general, people are going to do whatever it is that they will do, and that might be their motive. But for those who really want to build that connection with what it is that they are interested in and really want to go to the next step of acquiring something, um, you might want to go into the step of really asking yourself, well, what is the story behind it? And exploring the story, make contact with the artist, right? Like we're doing right now. Making contact with the artist, asking yourself, how does it fit into my lifestyle? Or for those who are already in the process of creating an art collection, which is basically a very curated, a well curated, and a personally curated collection of artworks that speak to a general vision that a collector might have about art. For instance, somebody can be collecting artwork specifically of African American artists in a certain time frame. Some people might do that on a wider spectrum. Some people collect artworks within a certain subject that might be pop art. And again, it can be in a certain time frame. It can be from a certain geographical geographical area. Those are really specific ways. Those are really focused ways of looking at how you can determine how your art collection is going to look like. And not to separate people that are acquiring art from people that are collecting art. The people that are collecting art have started their own art collections, are further into the process, and are a little bit more seasoned as they are really conscious and make themselves also very conscious to ask themselves the questions: is this piece of artwork a part of the lifestyle that I have? Is it part of how I stand in life? Is it part of how I feel? Does it represent me? Does it put the culture further into the space where you would like to see it? So that is the main difference between people that are actually in the process of acquiring an artwork and people that already created their own art collection. But that's a whole nother, there's a whole nother life. And there's a whole nother story that we can get into and what the difference between that is. But the reason why I wanted to mention that is it already shows you the main difference between those two. That people that are just at the beginning of wanting to explore, well, I want to buy something. Most people in general say, I want to buy something. I want to they don't say I want to acquire a piece of art, but I want to buy something. That is a great way to go into that direction. Look into how it makes you feel. That's the main part. How does it make you feel? Step out of your head. Don't get all twisted up about how much it's going to cost me or what is my budget. All of those things will come eventually further down the road. So don't get all worried and worked up about that. Start with the first question: how is it making you feel. And if there are any artists out there watching and asking themselves as well, like, well, I don't know how to translate that, speak to the feeling that made you create that piece of art and speak in that way. Write your story in that way. We can flip it as well. If when I think about a piece of art and I want to explain what the story behind it is, I I incorporate the feeling that I had at that particular moment creating that artwork. That is also the way that I want to present it to someone so that they can step into my perspective at that particular moment of what I've created. How does it make you feel? That is what you want to communicate on. That is a question that you can ask yourself. Well, yeah, I don't just like it, I love it. I absolutely love it. That is what makes me move, right? And again, then you go to the other points. Well, who's the artist? What have they already created? Do they have more work? How can I contact them? Can I go, online? Can I go to their Instagram? Do they have a portfolio? For all people that are already watching or are on my feed or just scroll through my feed, you can easily go to my profile, press the contact button, and you will get my email address, right? I'm making it really easy for you just to make that step towards the artist and just ask the question. Just be curious. I think that is the best way also to be going from the place of liking to a place of loving. Be curious. We stop being curious. We stop asking ourselves the question, what is that? What is that? Why did you make that? How did you do that? Why did you do that? Right? When did you do that? Where did you do that? We stop being curious. Stop being curious for what we would like to see and what we would like to have. And then, lastly, we go to the part of, do you just want to be trendy? Right? Do you just want to have something that fits your interior? Again, nothing wrong with it, but it's easier for you if you're honest about that flow of questions, that flow that will eventually lead you to the answer that says, well, I like it. I'm not really convinced, but I like it. And something that says, I love it, right? I really love it. And that is something that I really want to put my attention and focus on right now. So that was my half an hour of talking, of saying something about this particular subject about loving and liking. Um, Listen, it is not a one, two, three process. In some ways, it can be. In other ways, it cannot be. Right? It takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of time to get to that point. But there is no time frame. If you get the right person in front of you, if you get the right team of people in front of you, they will actually be very patient with you to help you through that whole process and really get to an end result that says whether you like it, nothing wrong with it, or whether you love it. And then you go further into the process. So if there are things that you might like about my art, again, you can go to the profile and there you'll find all content information. Also, there's a link tree link, and when you press on that, you will see different types of links that, for instance, go to my website, they go to my web shop, and there you can see whether you like something or you love it. Listen, you're already here. So you already like this stuff. You already like this stuff. So that is not even a question if you like or don't like. So we already know. Okay, so that was my little 2 cents in the 30 minutes that I had to give. Um, and I will be back next week with another live and another topic. If there are any topics or any questions that you have, you can hit me up in the DMs. You have my permission to hit me up in the DMs only about these type of things. If it's something else, I'm gonna block you. Kindly, I'm gonna block you. Okay, people. So have a great start of this weekend. If there were any issues, listen, just sit back, relax, have a cup of tea, get yourself something else to drink. If you don't drink tea, then drink something else. I don't know what it is that you drink. Just enjoy yourself. And I will see you in the next live. Bye, all.